Okay, so we'll start with the prayers which are on my screen. You can repeat with me. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganar Gunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां भावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome to our regular Bhagavad Gita reading sessions every Friday 1 to 2 p.m. We'll continue from where we had left, that is from chapter 3 of 18. But before that, I will just give a very um, quick summary of this, whatever we have um, read before in the chapter 3. So in the chapter 3, Arjuna asks the question. The question that he asks is, what is better for me? You want me to engage in this ghastly warfare, but at the same time you say be away from it, and that is intelligence. So why do you say that I should take part in this war? So basically, Arjuna thought that when Krishna in the previous chapter said that keep away from abominable activities, really bad activities, keep away from it. So Arjuna thought, okay, this fighting war is a bad activity. So I will keep away from it. But then Krishna again came back and said, no, you should do your duty of fighting. So he got confused. Should I be away from this or should I take part? So that's how this chapter number 3 started. And in this section, um, Krishna, he says that we should perform our duty. Hmm? Even if our duty um, may have problems in it. Problems in sense, um, just like you know, he says there are these army people. Now the army person has to protect, and to protect he has to use the deadly force. He has to use the deadly force. So so in doing that, he's doing it out of the order of the government, the king. So he's not liable for that action, right? If he kills the terrorist, then he's given a medal. But in case of the terrorist, they are acting on their own whims. So whose fighting is abominable? The army man or the terrorist? And we all know the answer. That is the terrorist. Why? Because the terrorists are independently thinking. They are not doing it on the order of authority, on the order of justice or truth or dharma, morality, ethical. So he said that's why we have to do our duty on that particular on what purpose we do our duty is more important than the very act itself. Like one more example here is a knife. Now, is a knife good or bad? Arjuna's question was this fighting in the war is really bad. Similarly, I asked this question, is knife good or bad? What is the answer? I've given two pictures. Picture on the left is the knife is in the hand of a doctor, and here the knife is in the hand of a thief. So with what purpose the knife will be used, that makes the situation good or bad. So Krishna is telling the same thing to Arjuna, that with what purpose are you going to use this fighting for? Hmm? That is more important. And then in that regards, he discusses about the karma, how in this world the karma is working, how the cycle of sacrifice and all. I gave an example of our local government. Our local government, what they collect from us? Tax. And then the government provides us with facilities, roads, electricity, medical, education, etc. So this is our local government. Similarly, there is a universal government. And we went over some table of comparison, where local government will provide water supply, electricity, road, hospital, defense. We need to follow the rules and regulations. There will be jails, justice department. Similarly, there is a universal government. So we are living in a universe, right? There are many planets: Earth, Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn. So all these things are getting governed by universal government. So in the universal government, there are demigods. Demigods means semi-gods. They have certain powers under them. So there is the Lord called Indra. He's providing irrigation. There is Sun, who's providing moon, who's providing light. Vayu, Dhanvantari is providing medicines. Ganesh, then Yamraj. All these universal government are there, and we need to pay taxes to them, and we need to follow the rules and regulations, otherwise they are going to punish us. So how to do that? Through the cycle of sacrifice. So in the Vedas, our actions are mentioned, what actions we should be taking, with what purpose those actions should be made. So that is called as prescribed actions. We live in this world and we perform so many roles: father, mother, brother, sister, a shopkeeper, a corporate job worker, a businessman, army, doctor. So many roles we perform, right? World citizen, citizen in the society. So there are prescribed duties for all this. How to behave in this world and perform a duty which is moral and ethically right. So that is prescribed in the Vedas. So when we perform those activities, that itself is a sacrifice. We are sacrificing, in sense we are using it only for its right purpose. And then there are other sacrifices which are meant like fire sacrifices, where we offer food grains in the fire yajna, and through that medium the demigods, they receive their taxes, or what is that called as sacrifice. They receive their sacrifice through that medium. Hmm? Then we perform charity, we perform tapasya. All these are sacrifices basically. So when we are good citizen, the government will provide us good facility, right? Similarly, the when we are good in our karma and yajna, then the demigods will provide us rain. So here the rain is there. Then from the rain will come food grains. Then living entity will subsist on it. Then I'll again offer the food to the Supreme Lord. Hmm? And the Supreme Lord has already provided the Vedas. And from the Vedas, we can know action. And so this is a cycle of sacrifice, where, to the universal government, we pay taxes in the terms of sacrifice, and the universal government provides us to live in this world. So Krishna, he says this. Um, yeah. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all the creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna, because it is by performance that will bestow you everything desirable for happily living happily and achieving liberation." Okay, so so we are discussing this point. So in this regards, um, we are in the 18th verse. Hmm? So one needs to perform sacrifices. We need to perform our duties. Otherwise, we live in vain. Hmm? Our life will be full of sinful reactions, and there will be disturbances. So what about those who actually perform it very rightly? So that is called as Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam meaning they do it out of duty. Just like we talked about army person, right? Now, the army person, he saves say 100 people, and they tell him, thank you very much. You tell what you want. Then what the army person will say? No, I don't want anything. I'm doing this out of duty. So when we do our activities out of duty, and we achieve the very higher state in our spiritual life, then we become self-realized. So in that self-realized people, how they act, that is what Krishna is going to say. So they act without desire for any benefit out of their duty. They'll do their duty out of sake of their duty, not out of any benefit, that I'll get some 50 lakh rupees and therefore I'll do this. No, I'll do it as my duty. Okay. Mm. Especially, these army people, doctors and all, we see they get salaries, but it is not that they are working just for the salary. They are having this selfless attitude. So when we are selfless, then we advance very rapidly in spiritual life. Okay. So now Krishna is going to talk about this section of Nishkam Karma, meaning those who are selfless. Now, for them, how the karma reacts. Hmm? Is there any reaction for their karma and all that he's going to discuss. So we'll get into the section. If there are any questions or comments, you can always interrupt me by unmuting yourself, or you can type your question in the chat. I will stop and I will answer your question. Okay. So let's get into the verse. Naivatasya kritartho na kritaneha kasyana na chasya sarvabhuteshu kasyit artha vyapashraya. Translation. A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in discharge of his prescribed duties, nor he has any reason not to perform such work, nor he has need to depend on any other living being. So those who are spiritually very advanced, right? Technically, they need not perform any duty because they are spiritually advanced and they are meditating on the Supreme Lord. So they are living their life. They need not perform anything else because they're living on that spiritual energy. But still, out of example, out of duty for common man, that common man should not think that okay, spirituality means you can just sit and be relaxed. No. So for the sake of common man, they perform duty, even though they are not required to. In the next verse, Krishna is going to say that. Like Janak Maharaj, the father of Sita, he was a self-realized person, but he had already attained perfection. But just for the sake of educating the people in general, other how to perform their duty without without attachment, he performed his work. So Krishna is going to say in the next verse, but we'll get into this verse. Okay. A self-realized person is no longer obliged to perform any prescribed duty, save and except activities in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is not an inactivity either. So sometimes people think, spiritual life means zero activity, which is not true. As it will be explained in the following verses. In the next verses, Krishna is going to say, like he gave the example of Janak Maharaj. He uses the word Janaka. So Janak Maharaj was who? He was a king. So king is the most active, right? In a kingdom. He's the most active. Every day he's looking after administration. 10 more things he's looking after. So many things he has to do, right? But Janak Maharaj was spiritually very advanced. And technically he was not required to do anything. He has achieved his perfection. But for the sake of educating people, he performed his duty. So that general people should not get confused. Okay? A Krishna conscious man does not take shelter of any person, man or demigod. Whatever he does in Krishna consciousness is sufficient in the discharge of his obligation. Go to the next verse. Tasmad asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto yacharam karma param apnoti purushaha. Translation. Therefore, without being attached to the fruit of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. So one should be detached, that I will get, I'll get so many things out of this if I do this activity. That mentality, one should be detached. And without that attachment, one should act act as a matter of duty. That this is called nishkam karma. There is sakam karma. Sakam karma means I want something from it, therefore I will do it. And one has to transcend from that to nishkam, that I will do my duty for the sake of my duty, and the fruits whatever I'll get, I won't be attached to it. I will I will give charity. I will offer it back to Krishna, and in this way, one will live a very detached life. So that is a higher spiritual state. Hmm? So therefore, without attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. So when we are detached, right, from the fruits of activities, then attaining the supreme, meaning attaining spiritual perfection, becomes easy. Can anyone comment how it becomes easy? By becoming detached. Any thought, idea? What, think this way, what are the reasons that people fear from taking to spiritual life? Or in general, people are very attached, right, to their possessions. And if we tell them, okay, take to spiritual life, then they will protest, they will become fearful. Why? Because they think that spiritual life means giving up everything. But it is not giving up everything, it is just giving up the attachment for those things. Now, can you tell me, um okay, we will discuss this point.
I had one query over here.
Sure, sure.
So if a person is attached to the karma that he or she is doing, right, then
Mhm.
it will be done in a more better way, or in a more careful way.
Mhm.
But if a person is not attached, um, so maybe emotionally or psychologically, then it may be
Okay, okay,
just so. For
okay.
example, I'll just give two points. For
Mhm.
example, we know that Shabri offered that boras to Sri Ram, right?
Mhm.
So she tasted that because she had a feeling that, okay, I should not give the Lord something which is sour in taste, and it should be always good, right? So similarly, when a mother is cooking for her children or for families, they will always try to take
Mhm.
utmost care that it is good. But if you go to a hotel, right, they don't have any attachment, because
Good.
they are not bothered about the customers, right? So whether that is good or not, whatever.
Okay, okay. Very nice example you took of the hotel and the mother and Shabri. So, in the hotel, we get the same thing that, we want to eat at home. Like, if you like something, let's say any item you may like, say, uh, paneer pakoda. I'm just taking one item, or paneer paratha, whatever. Your mother can also cook, and you can get in hotel also. Now, let's say this is the five-star hotel. You take any big hotel, whatever, any big hotel, and you can order that paneer paratha, whatever, from five-star hotel. Now, I want to ask you one question. Your mother also makes the same paneer paratha, and you can get it from five-star hotel. Where do you think you will be more satisfied?
Obviously, satisfied in the sense, it depends, right? So mother's food
Okay,
will
taste
always be
wise,
good.
taste wise, taste wise, you may say, okay, the hotel one is also tasty, the mother's one is also tasty. But
Yeah.
when it comes to satisfaction,
So obviously, home cooked food will be more better, right? With whatever is made with
Why?
love, because that is what I said. There is an attachment, there is an emotion, there is a bonding over there.
Okay. There is love. You use the word
Yes,
love, like there is
yes,
emotion and all that.
right.
Okay. Now here also there is love and emotion.
No, why
No, there
would
is
that?
there. I mean, the cook and the chef and all that, they cook it with so much, emotions and passionately. So many. I'm talking about five-star hotel. The chefs
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yes.
So
Five star
what
hotel
what is
also,
the
it is
difference?
ultimately it is just that work, right? So like the way we do our jobs, they will do their jobs.
No, no, fine. But I'm just asking, what is the difference that we may feel satisfied at mother, but not that kind of satisfaction we'll get at five-star
Maybe
hotel?
that
Why?
attachment, I think the attachment with mother,
Uh-huh.
such thing it depends. But
No,
hotel is like they're
what
giving
is
money.
the think this way? What is the motivation of love? What is the motivation here?
Motivation.
Yeah,
mm,
and what is the motivation in five-star hotel? From that
Money.
perspective, we can understand what it is.
Five-star hotel, obviously, like they
It is
want
money,
they
right?
want monetary consideration. Like
Yeah,
mother,
it's all
most of the
about
time
money.
doesn't expect anything in return.
Okay. Okay. What is the motivation of mother in cooking?
Nothing.
an emotion.
Like just
Nothing, right?
fulfilling, like just
Nothing is out just out of love.
Exactly.
Out of love, and you will see that it is she'll think it as a duty also, right? She'll think it
Mm.
as a duty also. My son, my daughter, they have come home. It is my duty. I am their mother, and she's not going to ask money out of it, right? Going back.
So again, my point was the exactly same. So because there is an attachment, right?
No,
Then
no, there is no attachment. That's what I'm saying. The attachment is motivated by see, if the attachment is motivated by money, then it is not, it is selfish. Okay, but if the attachment is motivated by love out of duty, it is selfless. That is what differentiates. So when we say we are attached for a particular work or something, then is it out of selfish motive or is it out of selfless motive? So Shabri ate the berries. Was this selfish or selfless? It was selfless. She didn't eat the berries because she was hungry or she was,
no,
um,
correct. That I
yeah,
understand. But again, my so there is a confusion that
huh.
if there was no bonding, okay, or there is no attachment, if she would have considered that okay, this is
Okay,
just a work or a
right,
duty,
right.
right? Then that type of what do you say, bhakti would not have been there, right?
Okay. I got your question, but let's put it this way. Is attachment good or bad? What is your answer? Yes or no? What is your answer? This is
It
the
dep-
same question, right? Like I
uh,
asked the same thing. Is knife good or bad? Yes
it
or no?
depends. Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
it
Yeah,
depends,
it
right? It
depends.
depends
Yes.
on what is the purpose behind it.
Yeah.
So same thing. What is the attachment? What is the purpose behind the attachment? That what makes the whole difference. This makes the whole difference. Remember that. So again, coming back to your question, we should look whether we are doing this particular activity with the attachment of being selfless or selfish. When it is selfish, then it is called sakam, and when it is selfless, it is called nishkam. And in nishkam, there is ability to reach to the supreme and advance in spiritual life. But in selfish sakam activities, spiritual life is difficult. Does this make sense now? Okay. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Now, my question is, let's go deeper into it. Why spiritual life becomes difficult when we do sakam activities? What is the reason? Any simple reason?
Because you are having your eyes on the fruit and not on the work.
Huh. Okay. Anything more? Anything more you can think of? See, our focus is on money. Let's put it simple. Focus is on money. So, and here the focus is on the Supreme. Okay, on the Supreme Lord Krishna. So what happens is, if focus is on money, the tendency is that I don't want to give part of it. I don't want to leave this and go, to the Supreme. Focus is on money and not on Supreme. While focus here is on Supreme Lord. So it is easy to go to the Supreme Lord, right? When the focus is already on Supreme Lord. See, Shabri ate the berries. The focus was what? The focus was to serve Lord Ram. Okay. And therefore she could surrender to Lord Ram very easily. But Shabri versus Marich, his focus was what? His focus to serve Lord Ram? No. His focus was that he was fearful of Ravana. So he became the deer. And he fooled Lord Ram. So that is the thing. Where our focus is, we will move in that direction. So what happens is, when we are detached from the fruit, our focus is not on any monetary or enjoyment purpose, but it is focused on the pleasing the Supreme Lord. Then it becomes nishkam, and one can go faster on the spiritual life. So therefore we see those who do a lot of charity and do tapasya and all that, their focus on the Supreme is increasing, and focus on oneself and focus on money and focus on one's own enjoyment is decreasing. So for them, becoming detached, see, the whole point is spiritual life means you become detached, right? That is easier. That is easier in Nishkam compared to Sakam. Okay. So good example you took of Shabri, because it gives very nice understanding. Okay. Okay. Now the question is, always we hear, give up everything, give up everything. What it exactly means? Give up everything. What according to you it means give up everything? Or what according to common public does it mean give up everything?
Give up everything, according to me, means whenever we are doing any act, like any karma, we should give that I am doing this. That is what we have to give up. And we have
Okay,
to say
okay.
that
The thought that I am doing this, okay? Right? I am the doer. Okay, that it means. Second,
Maybe wherever the negativity comes,
huh,
if you take it as personally, instead of that, if you give up, the environment will be in a positive way, and it is nothing but doing karma towards Supreme.
okay, okay. But what does it mean by giving up? Giving up the negativity. Okay?
Giving up
Okay,
negative.
okay, sure. Okay, how do common people hear this term, giving up everything? How do they hear? How do they understand this term? They mean, for them it means losing everything. Yeah. For them it means like losing everything. Okay, I'm going to lose everything. Whatever my possessions, everything, I have to give it up. I have to become a sannyasi, right? sannyasi or monk, or in very simple terms, poor person, right? This is what common public understand. Giving up everything means to become poor, to become a sannyasi, lose everything, right? Isn't it? That's why they fear of spiritual life. Okay. Now, this concept of giving up everything is explained in multiple ways in Bhagavad Gita, but I'm going to tell to you now like how it is explained. It says, you know, giving up everything means giving up something that we own, right? This is what the general understanding is. What we own in this world. Do we own anything in this world? What do you think? Do you think you own anything in this world? This is mine. This is really mine. This is not anybody else's. This is really mine. What is that really mine? Is there something that is here that is yours? Let's put all our possessions. Okay? Car, land, wife, husband, children. Do this really belong to us? Yes or no, or maybe? Can you give me some thoughts? Any thoughts?
No, I don't think so. We own them.
These are temporary things which,
Okay, good word. Good word. You have used the word temporary.
yeah,
So the real understanding is we temporarily own this. Okay, we can't really give up. Okay, my husband, my car. Okay, I give it up. No, we temporarily own the things. Okay, it is under our care. Okay, after that, everything is taken away. Now, this is something whether you are religious, non religious, atheist, theist, everything happens, right? Everything is taken away. Nothing remains, right? Car, land, wife, everything remains here. Agreed? So, we are just temporarily owning things. And if we temporarily own a thing, what is that called? Renting, right? We live in a rent, or we say live on rent, whatever. So, we are temporarily owning such things. Now, if I say we have to give up your rent home, if we are renting a home, we have to give up that home. Is it really giving up that? No, it never belonged to us. We just rented it for some time. So then what we have to give up? If it really don't belong to us, it is temporarily owning thing, then what we have to really give it up? I'll give you an example. Say, your company sends you to some other city, say Mumbai or Delhi, and there they give you a rented car to use for 1 week. Okay, after that you are going to return back to your city. Now, after the 1 week, what you have to give up? You have to give up the car, right? Because it is a rented car. It is not your car. Company gave you, use it, and then you have to give up that car. But if some person says, no, 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 this is my car, I cannot give it up. The company gave me, I cannot give it up. What is the answer to that guy? Answer is company gave it to use for that 1 week. You give up the attachment for that car. This is what really means we have to give up everything. Okay? This is what really means sannyas. We really don't give up anything. What we give up is the attachment for that thing. See, we work in companies, right? The moment we give our resignation, are we attached to that job? Not really. Why? Because we have given that attachment to the job. We have given up. So therefore, we are more interested in the next job we are going to do. So in the present job, we are not so much interested. We are just doing for the sake of its doing. And we have given up that attachment for that job. Like that. So it is like that. Does this help you in understanding the concept of sannyas? Sannyas, another word is called tyaga. These two words people fear actually. Sannyasa, tyaga. I have to give up everything. But technically, nothing belongs to us. We are just temporarily owning it. So, what we have to give up is the attachment for it. Now, how can we give up the attachment? See, I'll give you an example. Now, you must be knowing poha. Well, you know simple poha, right? Now, instead of poha, you get gulab jamun. Can you give up attachment for poha once you got gulab jamun? Yes or no? Tell me.
No, Prabhu.
Who said? Shrikant is saying no.
Yes, we will.
See, frankly speaking, yes. Why? Because poha is very simple food. Gulab jamun is sweet. So, if we are given the option, we will go for gulab jamun. So, how does Krishna explain this? He says, if there is higher taste, we can give up lower taste. In the second chapter, Krishna gives this example. I'll just go there. Param drishta nivartate. Yeah. विषय विनिवर्तन्ते निरासदेनां रसवर्जम रसोपि asya param drishtva nivartate. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste of sense object remains. But seizing such engagements by experiencing higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So if we get higher taste, we can give up lower taste and we can be fixed in our consciousness. So what happens here is, going back again to our Nishkam and Sakam, in Nishkam, there is a higher taste. And in Sakam, there is a lower taste. This is experienced by the person who is working. Now you tell me, those who do duty selflessly, the word selflessly and selfish, they will experience this taste. Agreed? Now, in this call, there are fathers and mothers, and workers and all. If you help somebody and you may not get anything out of it, don't you get a higher taste of satisfaction, deeper satisfaction in one's heart, and you feel happy? Isn't this an experience, day-to-day experience that we can have? We just have to help somebody and we don't get anything out of it, not a single rupee from that transaction, but just we are helping for the sake of helping. In that we get higher taste. Exactly. Does this make sense? Isn't that the experience? Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you confused? Anyone? You can unmute and speak. Anyone? Does helping others without an expectation give a higher taste to the one who's helping?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
The mother, she cooks so much without getting salary. Then what she's getting, that she's every day getting up and she's doing the same thing. But the five-star employees, they go on a strike if they don't get salary. What is that? What is that? So the answer is the mother gets a higher taste of love, while the employees, they always have this lower taste of job. So therefore, a Nishkam yogi, he gets this higher taste of selflessness, of happiness, of spiritual happiness, and therefore he goes more into that. Whereas a Sakam yogi is always frustrated. You stop his salary and he will run away. But a Nishkam yogi is not worried of all these things, and therefore he is more happy. Now you understand how come Shabri, I mean, Shabri was more happy. She waited for Lord Ram and all. Hmm? So this is the hidden mystery of spiritual life. That the higher taste one gets is very very subtle, and that satisfaction keeps him going in spiritual life. And this is what Krishna is explaining to Arjuna. You come to that platform, and when you come to that platform, you won't be worried of this lower taste. You will get higher taste. Okay. Okay. The supreme. So we understood multiple concepts. What it means by giving up everything. What it means by Nishkam Karma Yoga. Why it is beneficial. Why it is pro advantage than Sakam, because there is a higher taste involved in it. Okay. We'll get into the purport. The supreme is the personality of Godhead for the devotees and liberation for the impersonalist. See, for the devotee, what is the higher taste he gets? He gets Supreme Lord. Shabri, what did she get? She got Lord Ram. And Lord Ram was the most pleasing personality. Is the most pleasing personality. One may get 5 crores, 10 crores, and rupees. Is he going to be happy with it? Sometime only. For the devotee, he gets the source of happiness. Okay. So that is the difference. A person, therefore, acting for Krishna in Krishna consciousness under proper guidance and without attachment to the result of the work is certainly making progress towards the supreme goal of life. Okay. Arjuna is told that he should fight in the battle of Kurukshetra for the interest of Krishna, because Krishna wanted him to fight. To be good man or non-violent man is personal attachment, but to act on the behalf of Supreme is to act without attachment for the result. So Krishna is saying, do it for me. So when one does it for Krishna, for the Supreme, then that is called Nishkam Karma Yoga. That is perfect action of the highest degree recommended by the Supreme Lord. Vedic rituals like prescribed sacrifices are performed for the purification of impious activities that were performed in the field of sense gratification. But action in Krishna consciousness is transcendent to the reaction of good or evil. A Krishna conscious person has no attachment for the result, but acts on behalf of Krishna alone. He engages in all kinds of activities, but is completely non-attached. See, we're talking about Ramayana, right? After the battle of like killing Ravana, after killing Ravana, what did the monkey soldiers get? What was the salary? What was the reward that the monkey soldiers got after the war with Ravana? Have you heard about that? Yes or no? What reward they got? They did the biggest project, building the first is finding Sita, where she is. Second is building the bridge, then fighting, then losing their life. Okay, getting all kinds of difficulties in the battle. What did ultimately they get? The monkeys. What did ultimately the monkeys get? How many rupees did they get? How many gold did they get? How many gems did they get? How many gems? How many gold did Hanuman got? Any answers? Any answers? Zero, right? Then what did they get exactly? They got higher taste. What is the higher taste? They got the loving relationship of Lord Ram. Now, this is something that happens in spiritual life where one experiences the personal relationship with the Supreme. And that is greater than anything. I'll give you another example. A man marries a very rich girl. Okay? Very rich girl. And he gets all the girl's property. Now you tell me, can he, okay, he gets all the girl's property, everything he gets. What is required for happy marriage? If I ask you this question on this particular scenario, what is your answer? What is required for happy marriage? Okay, he has married a rich girl, he got all the property. Now the question is, what is required for happy marriage? Any comments? Let me put one more statement. He is unhappy in marriage. What is required for happy marriage? See, he got a good, rich girl, beautiful girl, whatever. He got the girl's property, everything, but still he's unhappy. Then what is the one thing that was missing that he didn't get? What do you think? That is still keeping him unhappy in the marriage. Come on, answer. What do you think that it is very missing in this whole relationship?
Love, Prabhu?
Yes, it is the loving relationship of the girl which is missing. So, when one gets a girl or say a boy in marriage, and if the person is the spouse is not loving, then what is the point of having the richness and the property? Right? What is the point? There is no point. Okay, so what was more important? Richness was more important, beauty was more important, property was more important, or the loving heart of the spouse was more important? Definitely loving heart of the spouse is more important, right? So the monkeys, they got Lord Ram's association and friendship, and they were not after the gold. Why? Because Lord Ram is the giver of all pleasures. A relationship with Lord Ram is amazing. It is such a higher taste that nothing lower taste, can disturb us. Now you get it? So therefore, he is engaged in the service of Lord Ram, but he's completely non-attached. He's not at all attached. Hanuman doesn't come and say, I did this big activity, now I need to get 15 lakhs rupees. Lord Ram. No. He says, you don't give me anything, just give me some service. I want to do it. Why? Because Lord Ram, doing service for Lord Ram and that having that relationship with Lord Ram was just simply full of happiness. See, we may work in companies, they may give us fat salaries, huge salaries, 2 crores. But if there is no loving relationship with the boss, will we be happy in that job? No, not at all. Right? So this is the key for happiness. So key for happiness, there should be some loving relationship in that. And in the material world, we don't get it. So we are unhappy. So we have to go to the Supreme, and our focus should be on the Supreme. And we have to be detached from the fruit. Then we can be attached to Lord Ram. We cannot be both. Both is very difficult. And then when we get Lord Ram, his association, his friendship, his loving relationship, that keeps us happy, and that is a higher taste. Okay, so that is higher taste. Okay, let's open up for some questions or comments. Anyone has any questions or comment? Any one question or comment, or we can close and meet next week. We'll continue with 3.20. Any question or comment? Okay, so